Blue Spruce has introduced some beautiful new marking tools. Woodcraft has introduced a brand new type of clamp. Those stories and more coming up. Welcome to the Woodworking News, brought to you by WB Fine Woodworking. This is the news for the second half of July of 2021. In Woodworking magazine news, I'm not sure that a lot of you know that Popular Woodworking was sold off in 2019. It was bought up by the same company, Ames Media, who owns Woodsmith magazine, and they also bought up Shop Notes and American Woodworker, which was a good magazine back in the day. While Woodsmith magazine has remained from those, they also would like to keep Popular Woodworking going as a magazine. Popular Woodworking has announced that Logan Whitmer, who came over from Woodsmith magazine, is going to be the new editor of Popular Woodworking. And they're going to try to keep Popular Woodworking and Woodsmith magazine going at the same time. So Logan has been announced as the new editor for Popular Woodworking magazine. Australian Wood Review magazine has announced the 2021 Maker of the Year Awards presented by Carbotech. The Maker of the Year Awards presented by Carbotech encourage and promote talented and innovative woodworkers from Australia and New Zealand. And for the very first time, our new category, World, introduces the competition to an international audience. Contest categories: bowls and boxes, tables, chairs, and desks, chests, cabinets, and shelving, art and objects, student, and world. The awards close for entries on 5 September 2021 and culminate with the announcement of the winners at woodreview.com.au and the publication of a special Maker of the Year issue of Australian Wood Review magazine in December 2021. For more information, go to the Australian Wood Review website. Keep watching for the latest in lumber prices. Where are they headed? We've also added a news flash at the end of this program because futures prices on lumber are going up. Now for the home decorating news and current trends. Now, while this may sound a little strange to include in the woodworking news, woodworkers are often the ones that are called on to make the furniture or to install things like kitchen islands, cabinets, shelves, anything else that goes into the home. And so knowing some of the current trends is a good idea for us. According to HGTV, live edge furniture was initially made popular by legendary mid-century modern furniture designer and architect George Nakashima. His sculptural pieces paired clean line bases with tops that showcase wood's natural beauty through butterfly joints, a live edge, and heavy burled or figured grain. This holistic approach to honoring the wood's beauty, flaws and all, has again captured the design world's attention. Live edge furniture's popularity has led to its use in architectural installations like kitchen islands, mantels, and built-in bookcases. Given its ties to mid-century modern design via Nakashima, live edge furniture is right at home in mid-mod homes. According to Modsy and their design trends for 2021, mid-century isn't dead. Last year we predicted that mid-century modern was going to move out of the trend spotlight, but we're not too proud to say we were wrong. Mod Visionary, a sub-style of mid-century modern, grew in popularity this year. In fact, people received Mod Visionary as their style quiz result 14% more often this year. Needless to say, people are still drawn to the clean lines and approachability of mid-century style. If you're like me and have had to do a lot of these kinds of jobs in the past, you might want to know what the trends are so that you can be prepared when something comes up at your house. So don't be surprised when someone asks you to design and build a mid-century modern furniture piece, and it looks like live edge slabs aren't going anywhere soon. Now on to the YouTube news. Since the woodworking news appears on YouTube, I'm assuming that a lot of you out there are looking at other woodworkers and seeing what's going on in their channels. I have some information here about Jonathan Katz-Moses, James Wright, and Rob Cosman that you might be interested in. Recently on YouTube, Jonathan produced a tour of his updated shop. Jonathan shared all the machines that he uses in his shop and the fact that most of them he got used. He goes to auctions a lot. And yes, just like the rest of us, Jonathan has a section for all of his wood scrap. When Jonathan got over to his assembly table area, he pointed out all the sandpaper that's on the table. He's planning to do another sandpaper comparison test. Since some companies complained that his comparison test that he did before was not fair, Jonathan came up with a new idea. He found a company in North Carolina that makes these robots with sanders on the end. He got permission for the company to come and do some filming to show how these sanders work and compare the sandpapers using a robot instead of just his hand. This is one thing I've noticed about Jonathan over the years. He thinks outside of the box and comes up with different ways to do things. And this way is really different. Jonathan said these robots will provide all kinds of data for his comparison. Jonathan thinks by using robots to test the sandpaper, he'll take that human touch out of it and get good results. The results of these tests will be something to look for in the future on his channel. Some of you may know Jonathan because of his Katz-Moses magnetic dovetail jigs made out of urethane. I remember back in the days these were handmade by Jonathan in his shop using wood. Jonathan also sells the apron that I use in my shop. Towards the end of the video, Jonathan also mentioned that he is hiring help. If you're interested in living in the beautiful Santa Barbara, California area and working for Jonathan, you might want to check out his website and find out more information about what positions he has available. Recently on his Wood by Wright YouTube channel, James Wright did a great interview with Rob Cosman. Rob Cosman is an excellent woodworker and teacher. He's also come up with some great woodworking tools, especially a dovetail saw. In this part of the interview, Rob was sharing a small-handled dovetail saw that he's making for people with small hands. He was sharing that information with James's wife, Sarah, shown at the very bottom of the photo. Sarah runs James's live feeds and has just gotten into woodworking. A major part of the interview was centered on Rob's Purple Heart project, where Rob actually teaches combat veterans who have been injured in combat about woodworking and also helps to supply them with some tools to get started with. Rob stated that the hardest part of the project is finding the combat wounded veterans because most of them won't come forward themselves. He gets referrals from family and friends most of the time, so if you know a combat veteran who is mentally or physically wounded in battle, you might want to check into this program and see if it's right for them. To find out more about this project, I suggest that you watch the video and also go to Rob Cosman's website. The links to everything are in the description below. Towards the end of the interview, Rob showed off a purple handle he plans to put on one of his dovetail saws and asked James if he'd make the box for it. James agreed to do that, and the proceeds for an auction of the saw will go to the Purple Heart Project. Again, for more information on all this, please watch this video. The link is in the description below. In hand tool news, Blue Spruce has brought out some beautiful marking tools. They either have solid wood handles or wood veneer handles on the sides. All of them are beautiful grain and different kinds of woods. And yes, as you may have guessed, they're pretty expensive. These new Blue Spruce tools remind me of the Vesper tools that are come out of Australia. They're maybe even more expensive. If you're going to spend that much on tools, you might as well check out both Blue Spruce and Vesper. In woodworking machine news, 2021 marks the 100th anniversary for Powermatic and selling tools. Now, in this day and age when we see tool companies bought and sold so quickly, that's a long time for a tool company to be in business. Obviously, Powermatic is very proud of the fact that they've lasted for 100 years. As part of their celebration, they've introduced a centennial collection of tools, including a jointer, planer, bandsaw, and dust collection. These 4 machines are ready for purchase now. Additional tools will be arriving in August of 2021, including a table saw, drill press, and lathe. And now for the latest news on lumber prices and where they're headed. On July 19, 2021, CNBC stated, home buyers aren't seeing savings from falling lumber prices. Here's why. Lower lumber prices are a welcome sign, but not a reality yet on the retail side. Lumber prices are also still up nearly 100% from the spring of last year. The price of lumber packages quoted to home builders is still at a record high. Retailers, of course, want to buy their product low and sell high, so they're still selling the inventory they have at higher prices, despite what the futures market says. Also, given soaring demand and supply chain issues, their inventory is low anyway, and there is still demand, so they have no reason to lower prices, but that will change in the coming months. We are still in a price discovery mode, said Michael Goodman, Director of Specialty Products at Sherwood Lumber, a national wholesale distributor in Palmer, Massachusetts. Sherwood buys from mills in North America and Europe and ships directly to its customers. Everyone is going to try to hold on as long as they can, but the market is going to find its way. Maybe in the end the price is higher because of inflation, but we are definitely in a housing boom now. That doesn't seem to be going away, Goodman said. According to this graph published by CNBC by Diana Olick, lumber prices still are going down, so that's a good sign. In her report, she stated, while lumber prices have fallen more than 50%, those savings have not yet trickled down to the builders, remodelers, or consumers. Supply chain issues as well as inventory with suppliers are keeping the retail prices elevated. Some of you may be familiar with Shannon Rogers. He has a Renaissance Woodworking YouTube channel, and he appears on the Wood Talk podcast. Shannon works at one of the largest lumber companies in the United States, and he also has his Lumber Industry Update podcast. Recently on his podcast, he talked about lumber prices and where they're headed. More importantly for woodworkers, Shannon talked about hardwood prices as well. According to Shannon, don't expect pre-COVID prices to return. Construction lumber producers are not going to lower prices to those levels, though there already have been some rather dramatic price drops at some retailers. The prices will come down more in the next month or so. Shannon went on to say, hardwood prices are way too varied to put actual numbers on them. Do not expect hardwood prices to come down to pre-pandemic levels. That's not going to happen anytime soon, if ever. The prices for some domestic hardwoods actually hadn't gone up for decades, but they are going up now just because of the rising cost to produce them. Those extra costs are going to keep all hardwood prices higher than they were before the pandemic. Shannon adds some some other news. In a related subject, the Lacey Act will include items like OSB and lumber products such as crates and pallets. It's been observed that some of these items have included species of wood that may be controlled by the Lacey Act or even on the CITES list. Now, more documentation and chain of custody will be needed for these kinds of products entering the United States. Obviously, this will increase the price of imported OSB as well as products shipped from other countries in crates or on pallets. This change takes effect 1 October 2021. While we're seeing some prices for lumber come down, it'll take a long time for the market to fully stabilize. And whether or not we go back to pre-pandemic prices, that really remains to be seen. In woodworking industry news, Woodcraft has come up with a brand new clamp design, and Rockler has come up with something that will help you organize your drawers. Now I can only imagine what Mark Spagnola could do with that line. Woodcraft has just announced their new Wood River Quick Twist bar clamps. These look very similar to Bessie gear clamps, but the jaws are totally different. They're actually parallel. These new clamps come in 3 different sizes: 6-inch, 12-inch, and 18-inch. For those of you that know about Kaizen foam, Rockler has introduced their own new version. They call it Foam Organizer Sheet. They help organize tools and accessories in drawers. These sheets come in 2 by 4 foot sheets and 2 thicknesses. The thin ones are 1 1/8 inches thick, and the thicker ones are 2 1/4 inches thick. Both come in single packs or packs of 3. These can organize all different kinds of tools in your workshop. Those new Wood River clamps really look interesting. I'm going to have to check those out. And I already have some of the Rockler foam, and I've used that. I haven't really put it in drawers yet, but I'm going to be doing that in the future. This is a Woodworking News Newsflash. Wildfires are spreading across British Columbia, the North American mecca of lumber. Already, the Canadian province has declared a state of emergency. British Columbian forestry titan Conifer became the first to announce it will curtail production at its sawmills as a result of the fires. Any disruption of the lumber supply from British Columbia, which exports 90% of its output, is bound to send prices higher. This is predicted to be a bad year for forest fires. They've started early this year. This graph from Trending Economics shows a slight uptick now in the futures market. According to Fortune magazine, while lumber futures are trading upwards, industry insiders tell Fortune they aren't sure if this is simply an uptick or start of another run on lumber prices. This hike in lumber futures is happening at a terrible time for DIYers and home builders, who have recently seen a lowering of the cash prices for lumber. These fires could cause those prices to stabilize or even go back up. Well, that's it for this edition of the Woodworking News. If you'd like to see more of these, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up down below and make some comments down below as well. I'd like to read your comments, and I loved questions. So if you have any questions, and remember, if you have something that you think is newsworthy and you'd like me to consider putting it on the news, just let me know. You can contact me through my website, and the information of that is in the description down below. And thank you all very much for watching.